So in this session, let's discuss about diabetes mellitus. So diabetes mellitus is a very common disorder, you all know. It is clinical syndrome that is typically characterized by hyperglycemia. What is hyperglycemia? That is increased in your blood sugar level with glycosuria, that is urine with increased sugar levels. Okay. It is a clinical syndrome of hyperglycemia with glycosuria, that is excessive presence of glucose in your blood or sugar in your blood. By sugar I mean glucose, okay? Sugar I mean glucose. Due to the lack of insulin or insulin resistance is termed as diabetes mellitus. It may either be due to complete lack of insulin or resistance to insulin. Okay, so insulin, as you all know, what's the function of insulin? Insulin, it reduces your blood glucose level. How does it do that? First one, it pushes your glucose into cells. It prevents glycogenolysis. What is glycogenolysis? Glycogenolysis, breakdown of glycogen into glucose. Glycogen is the storage form of glucose. So excessive glucose, if there in the body, it is converted to glycogen. And when the need arises, this glycogen is broken down and glucose is released. So it prevents this process called as glycogenolysis, breakdown of glycogen. So insulin prevents your glycogenolysis, thereby reducing your blood glucose. It also promotes glyconeogenesis, formation of new glycogen from your glucose. Basically, it does everything to reduce your blood glucose levels. Okay. It produces an acute metabolic decompensation leading to a severe form of the disease called as diabetic ketoacidosis. Now, how does this happen? When your body blood glucose cannot reach your cell, the cell cannot use its glucose. So what a cell does is, it instead uses your fatty acids for its nutrition. And once the fatty acids are used, it results in the formation of ketone bodies. Okay. Once the fatty acids are used, the byproduct is your ketone bodies. So you get a condition called as diabetic ketoacidosis, excessive formation of ketone bodies in your blood that causes ketoacidosis. Long-term manifestations can occur due to the structural and functional changes in various organs, such as your eyes, kidneys, brain. These are termed as complication of diabetes mellitus. Clear? So it can affect many systemic organs as well. Classification of diabetes, important. Primary cause. Primary diabetes. Your diabetes is a primary cause, can be type 1 or type 2. Type 1, very important, it is insulin dependent. Diabetes mellitus means the presence of diabetes is dependent upon your insulin. If you can supply the insulin to a patient of type 1 diabetes mellitus, the patient condition will improve because he doesn't have insulin. Okay, it is due to lack of insulin. If insulin is not secreted, the blood glucose level cannot decrease. So it can either be immune mediated autoimmune disorders, okay, or it can be non-autoimmune. Okay. Autoimmune, it is targeted, the immune cells, autoimmunity is targeted towards your islet cells of pancreas, which produce your insulin. Islet cells of pancreas, they produce insulin, but these cells are destroyed by your autoimmune disorder. So you get type 1 diabetes. In your type 2, it is non-insulin dependent. That is, in a patient of type 2 diabetes mellitus, if you supply artificial insulin, his condition does not improve. Okay, his condition does not improve. It is due to resistance of insulin. Insulin is there in abundance in the body, but it is not effective, it is not acting. So they can be either obese patients or non-obese. Obese patients, they have mainly insulin resistance with relative insulin deficiency, whereas non-obese patients, they have insulin secretory defect with insulin resistance. Okay, basically type 1 and type 2. Type 1, insulin supplied, condition improves. Type 2, insulin supplied, condition doesn't improve. It is non-insulin dependent. And it can either be primary or secondary diabetes. Secondary diabetes is due to some other condition. It is due to some other underlying systemic condition, like your pancreatitis. Okay, you get pancreatic diabetes because due to inflammation of your pancreas, the islet cells of the pancreas, they form insulin. So they cannot form so because due to the pancreatitis, that is pancreas inflammation, pancreatic inflammation, that can be viral or anything. So thereby indirectly causing your diabetes. It can be your hormonal or endocrine abnormalities like your acromegaly, excessive growth, excessive production of growth hormone, Cushing's syndrome, that is due to your steroids, okay, adrenal cortex, drug induced, again due to your steroids and thiazides, insulin receptor antibodies, okay, insulin, it goes and acts on certain receptors, they are your insulin receptors, okay. Once these insulin receptors are damaged, the insulin cannot go and act. There is no place to act. There is no receptor, so the glucose cannot go inside. Okay. So insulin receptor antibodies. One thing you have to remember, mainly your GLUT4 receptors. Very important. Previously asked question. Your GLUT4 receptors are the main receptors which are responsible for transport of blood glucose into your cells. Lastly, you get genetic syndromes like your Klinefelter syndrome, your Turner syndrome, Down syndrome, etc. There is a very specific syndrome, NIDDM, where it is diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus, optic atrophy and deafness. It is called as NIDDM. Okay, diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus, optic atrophy and deafness. Okay, so various symptoms you can get. Lastly, you get your gestational diabetes mellitus. What is gestation? Gestation means your pregnancy. Okay, it is again due to the deficiency of insulin. Occurs due to destruction of beta cells by autoimmune response, destruction of beta cells by your viral infection, congenital disorder of beta cells. So these are manifested mainly during your pregnancy. It is not associated with your obesity and not hereditary. Most commonly associated again with your ketoacidosis or coma. So it's a very serious condition. Serious condition. It usually occurs in your young age groups. Childhood diabetes is also called as juvenile diabetes. Okay. Now, what is the pathogenesis of your type 1 diabetes mellitus? Mainly it is your genetic susceptibility. HLA stands for your human leukocyte antigen. They are normally present in your cell surfaces, mainly on your chromosome number 6. Okay. So any genetic alteration to this chromosome number 6 affecting your HLA, that is your DR3, DR4, as well as some viral infection which acts as a trigger. What happens? There is insulitis, that is, there is inflammation of pancreas with lymphocytic infiltration, that is, your own body T and B lymphocyte go and attack your pancreas. Okay, there is an autoimmune response wherein your T cells go and attack your pancreas. Activation of autoimmunity, it fails to distinguish between your self and non-self. Okay, let's say a virus comes inside your body defense cells goes and attack your virus. But here, due to some genetic alteration, the cells are unable to distinguish between what is virus and what is your cell, normal cell. It goes and destroys both your self and non-self cells, thereby leading to destruction of the beta cells. Classically, your alpha cells are spared. Okay, beta cells are responsible for your insulin secretion, insulin production. So autoimmune response, beta cells are destroyed and you result in type 1 diabetes mellitus, wherein more than 90% of the beta cells are destroyed and there is no insulin or very less insulin formed. So this is a pathophysiology of your type 1 diabetes mellitus. Type 2 diabetes mellitus, it is, as we told, non-insulin dependent. Usually occurs elderly, also called as maturity onset diabetes mellitus, or it is called as adult onset diabetes mellitus. It occurs classically, typically in your elderly age group, associated with your obesity and is hereditary. Beta cells are normal, insulin is produced, but there is resistance to insulin. Insulin amount is normal, but there is resistance to insulin. Okay, therefore it is very rarely associated with your ketosis. Develops due to reduced number of insulin receptors, namely your GLUT4 receptors. Again, I'm stressing. Okay. Same pathophysiology. Pancreatic beta cell failure. You get either insulin resistance, low to moderate secretion of insulin, leading to hyperinsulinemia, which leads to hyperglycemia. Basically, insulin is produced. but insulin cannot act on your receptors. The receptors are damaged, so you get more and more insulin present in your blood. Even though insulin is present, you get increased blood sugar level because insulin cannot act. There is resistance to insulin, leading to increase in your plasma blood glucose. End of the day, what happens? The insulin is secreted in your urine because it is waste. Fall in plasma insulin and you get type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay, it is basically due to increased insulin resistance. Okay, the receptors are damaged. Okay. Now, frequently asked question, the main most important question is your insulin receptor. That is, I am telling you, it is GLUT4. That is your glucose transport 4 receptor. This receptor is damaged mainly in your type 2 diabetes mellitus, and you get diabetic ketoacidosis mainly in your type 1 diabetes mellitus. Okay, this you have to remember, and you have to remember your gestational diabetes mellitus. Okay.